Okay, now we were talking about the research that went into Twilight. She admitted that she had not read that many vampire novels. Um, for example, Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, which I think is, if you're going to read a vampire novel, you need to read Anne Rice. Because it's not one that is for young adults, but it is for adults. But her research is just so much more in depth. And her vampires, her view on immortality and how they would spend their time and how they get bored with it and things like that is just so much better. I don't think that an immortal would go to high school over and over again. Now she explains that, that's how they keep in one place for an extended period of time. I just don't see vampires doing that. I don't see why they would want the human interaction. I don't understand it. Honestly, even in Sherilyn Kenyon's books, they buy houses in their squires' names, etc., so that they can live there, and then, it goes passed down, but they're the ones living there, but it passes on to their squires' children and things like that. So their squires handle all the paperwork so that they can live undetected. And the Vampire Chronicles, they don't really want human interaction. They rent places, they move from place to place, because as an immortal, I think that you would want to see how things change all over the world, and I don't think necessarily that you'd want to stay in one place forever. So, her view on vampires, I'm sorry, I just don't like it. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. And this is going to kind of go back to the character development. In the Harry Potter series, we get to see Harry and his friends transition from kids to teenagers and to ultimately heroes. And they do that by learning from their elders, as well as just maturing throughout the series. We see them fall in love for the first times, Hermione with Victor Crumb, Harry with Cho Chang, Ron with Lavender Brown. You don't see that in Twilight. Also, in Harry Potter, it gets more dark as you go on, and it gets more... These books are just better written. There is a little bit of the mortal world, but, it's not so much that, I can't even tell you how great these books are. Okay, let's talk again about the characters. Because we talked about how there are strong women and how the physical appearance of the characters are different in each book. Let's also talk about traditional female roles for a minute. Okay. And we're going to start off with Twilight. In Twilight, Bella is very traditional. She wants to marry and be with Edward, and that's pretty much all she wants out of life. It doesn't really go... She doesn't even want to go to college. She just wants to be with Edward. And she's disrespectful to her parents as a typical teenager. But she's very weak. She's not very strong-willed. And in the book, there's very few characters that, even in Leah, let's look at Leah for a minute. Leah doesn't have a man, but she wants to imprint so badly so that she can forget Sam. It speaks about traditional roles. It does not have women in here who are completely fine to be single or so on and so forth. Now, let's go to Harry Potter and talk about traditional female roles. Okay. First off, Hermione is completely fine being alone. And she is a strong character and can function well without a boyfriend. Now, let's also see the variety of female roles in this book. To me, Molly was a traditional female character. She married, she had kids, she stayed in the house, cooked, cleaned, and that's what she really liked to do. However, Molly, in the final book, to me shows that she, even though she's a mom, she can protect and defend herself and her children just as well as, if not even better than a man. Because we know that Molly is the one that goes up against Bellatrix Lestrange, which is Voldemort's right-hand woman, and, and there again, Bellatrix may be evil, but she is a strong female character who is vicious and everything else. But we know that Molly, in the last book, she says, "Not my daughter." And she destroys Bellatrix. And so even though she's a traditional female character, she has that "I'm going to hurt you for what you do, and I'm going to protect myself and my friends and my family." So even though she's a traditional female character, she has that inner strength. Bella doesn't. Bella doesn't. To me, Molly and Alice might be on the same level. Because Alice is she's a strong female character, but at the same time, she's sort of traditional. Okay, now let's go on to Tonks. Now, Tonks does get a bit depressed when Lupin doesn't want her and she wants him. But that in no way destroys her strength of character, because she rises above it. Unlike Bella moping around, she still kicks butt. Okay, now, let's go on to traditional male roles. In this book, well, let's just talk about character development as a whole. Neville, for example, is a very weak male character in the beginning of the series, and through Hermione helping him and learning from other characters, he finally becomes a strong male character in the end, and he discovers that he has inner strength as well. But for a long time, he's just kind of holding on to Hermione saying, "Help me, help me, help me, I don't know what I'm doing." So he is completely opposite of a traditional male role that is seen as strong and hard and all that. We also have characters that are on the gray side. They're not evil, but they're not good. For example, Snape. We go throughout the whole series thinking he is evil. But then we find out that he has this great love affair, and that is what has defined him as a person completely. Even his Patronus is based on that love affair. And it puts him in the gray area. He's not good, but he's not completely evil. He's just kind of a nasty character. Voldemort, also, he's the villain. We kind of feel sorry for him. Because he was an orphan, and instead of going with love the way Harry did, he went towards the evil side and said, I'm going to find a way not to die because that's weak. My mom didn't die. His mom died, and it's because she wouldn't lift a wand to save herself. To me, Voldemort's mom and Bella probably could have been twins. So I guess I'm going to have to go into video 3.